what you learn in tech today is relevant tomorrow. It's not about tech roles, it's about the role of tech in your career.
You're listening to Ciminelli Chats, where we aim to share the latest news, real estate industry insights, and announcements. I'm your host, Grace Harner, and today I'm joined by my friends from TechBuffalo, Cameron Smith, the Finance and Operations Director, and Mary Ruelle, the Higher Education Program Lead. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, I'm the Finance and Operations Director for our team. We have a small team of 5, so I focus a lot on our operations procedures, what we're doing, prepare us to grow as an organization, but as a small team too, we also wear many hats. So you can see me working on IT, helping in marketing outreach, any strategy that we're working on.
Sweet. And Mary, how about you?
Yeah, so as the higher education program lead, I am primarily working with our area's colleges and college tech talent to try and get them connected to opportunities here in Western New York, whether that's for internships, jobs, further education, getting them connected to the region, connected to employers, and connected to each other to try and grow the tech industry by keeping and by retaining the tech talent that we train here.
That's great. Can you guys tell me a little bit about your background getting to where you are right now?
Yeah, so I came out of school and I was working at First Niagara Bank for a little bit. I enjoyed the corporate life that was working there, but I was ready to make a move, so I transitioned over to the nonprofit sector. I had a lot of experience of volunteering in the community and really was inspired by the idea of going to work on a mission-based organization. So I worked at Supportive Services Corporation for about 8 years, and then I was ready to make my next move. And I learned about TechBuffalo and the opportunity that we had to really make an impact on our community. And I jumped on it, and now I'm here at TechBuffalo for 2 years.
My background is in higher education, so I come from the college side of things, and so this is really just a different way for me to work with a community that I am really passionate about. College students are some of my favorite people. The creativity, the innovation, the freshness that they bring to anything, industry especially, is something that has always been really engaging for me. So I actually left Buffalo for a little bit. I'm a Buffalo boomerang, so grew up here, was raised here, left for about 7 years, and lived in the Midwest. I lived in Detroit and Chicago, and then I also lived in Boston for a little bit before making our way back to Buffalo. And was working in the college side of things, and got introduced to TechBuffalo and to this opportunity to have an impact on many schools in the area, and working with employers and working with students from all over the region, and even those that were exploring this region for the first time. So it's been really awesome to see the impact and to be able to really create programming and to create an organization and a movement to attract and retain our tech talent here in Buffalo. And we don't just work with college students, so we work with adult workforce, which for us is considered 16 and up, but we also have kids programs, and we're all about really amplifying technology in Buffalo to the wider community and whatever that means for them, and creating pathways and access to what a tech career looks like at any point.
Yeah, well, welcome home.
It's been a while. We've been back for like 4 years now, almost 5.
So what does that talent retention look like on your end? Because I know that it can feel and look different for different companies.
Yeah, so Mary kind of touched on it too. Mm-hmm. Like, our mission is to attract and retain talent here in Buffalo, but build a sustainable, inclusive, and accessible tech community that can support our ecosystem. And that involves many pipelines. Not on one end we have college and university, on the other end we have our community work that we do. So working with our local training providers and connecting them with all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. So you also have employers, you have community partners, you have the job seekers themselves. Everybody's on a different career journey. It's not always go to college and get a job, but you might get a job and then decide later on you want to transition your career into tech. So you might want to look for a local training provider that you can get a certification that can upskill you in a technical mindset so you can be ready to take on a new technical role.
Yeah.
So we're what's called an intermediary organization. And so we, if you think about the tech industry and the ecosystem at large, there are employers, talent, and then our educators and trainers, both degreed and non-degreed. And so we work in the center of all of that to help people build those connections, to convene, to collaborate with one another, and collectively move the tech industry forward. What we've observed in the past, so like pre-TechBuffalo, and we're a newer organization. We were founded in early 2020. I was the third employee in April of 2022. Cam was the fourth shortly after. So as a newer and growing organization, there has been, a lot of times those trainers, talent, employers are siloed and they're not necessarily working together. But if you're going to grow an industry, if you're going to, grow talent to support that industry, they need to work together to make sure that the talent is learning the right stuff and that the trainers are teaching the right stuff and that the employers know what to expect from the trained individuals that are coming out of those programs. And so it's really a collective effort, and that's what we, try to enable is those entities working together.
Sure, yeah. And even I feel that with Buffalo. So I'm originally from Binghamton, New York, but I went to school here and then I decided to stay because I could feel that there's so much potential for me and even my friends, they all want to stay here. Are there specific ways that you engage that community piece and help, your audience to feel exactly what you were just explaining to me?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of events and a lot of initiatives that are meant to bring talent, either current or potential tech talent, to the opportunity. So whether that is networking events, we have, what's called Family Code Night, where, and one adult and one child can come and do Minecraft education together, right? And we always pair with a tech trainer, so the adult can learn a little bit more about training opportunities. Their kid can learn a little bit more about, basic block coding, and how that might transition into, a career, sparking that interest early on. We also have women in tech meetups. We support our micro communities in the area, that are getting together and are focused on like different tech skills, and so we do a lot to help the talent bridge those connections. There's a placemaking aspect to it, so getting that talent into the spaces where they might work, where they might live if they're not from here. And especially with our college talent, that living and that life piece is something that we focus on too. You can have a great career, but what is the rest of your life going to look like? And so we try and, bring folks to those places that they might frequent outside of the 9 to 5, and they can build, a community here.
Yeah, it really seems like it's about resources and finding, what you love, what's available to you.
Yeah, it's really like a navigation effort, right? And data is a huge part of that too. We really aim to be the data source for tech in Buffalo. So employers can come to us and learn, what type of talent is there. Trainers can come to us and learn what skills the employers are needing. Talent can come to us and learn, what training is available and what skills they should learn. So, being that data source too, to kind of drive what the industry is doing, to drive how the workforce develops, is something else that we really aspire to be.
Another big aspect to those events that we're hosting is about awareness, about what a career in tech can look like. Because everybody initially thinks of Google, Facebook, or Meta, Amazon, and all the coding that goes into that. But they don't think about the other roles that are involved with it. How you can get into cybersecurity. You could become a developer. You can come in work in data analytics. Other roles like that, but then the tech adjacent roles that go into the marketing that goes with it, the HR, the awareness that people need to have, the project management. So a lot of our events are focused on, one, breaking down the idea of what a career in tech can look like, and then also that Buffalo is a tech hub and there's a spot for you to work here if you want to put in the direction to that and really build out those skills.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point because it obviously with today's day and age, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And just having this conversation with you, I'm thinking about all of the different skills that I've learned along the way. how to even just use this microphone that I'm talking into right now.
Yeah, it's not about, and to quote our previous CEO, Sarah Tambacucci, it's not about tech roles, it's about the role of tech in your career. Western New York is a tech-empowered region, so we don't have the plethora of tech product companies that you might see in Silicon Valley or New York or Houston, those places that are considered to be those Big 10 tech hubs. But all of the industries that we do have here, things like finance, insurance, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, energy, are all powered by tech. Whether that is like the computer science, IT, those kind of pure play tech roles, or roles that either require a lot of tech skills or that make those companies run, that enable the tech roles themselves. And so that is what we also try to, advertise to our talent. Think about Buffalo as a place to work in tech. It might not look like what you think it looks like. You may not be, on this, with this giant tech product company, but here's how it impacts all of the things that are driving Buffalo's economy and are only going to continue to drive Buffalo's economy. And so some of that's branding, right, and marketing. Sydney Sanders, who is our marketing lead, is really done an incredible job with the storytelling aspect of that and helping people to see themselves in tech and to see themselves in tech in Buffalo, because it looks a little bit different than what people tend to think when they think about working in technology.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really interesting to think about how all of this ties into building a better Buffalo. And just in terms of the work we do with Ciminelli, we're almost working alongside each other, although we're not directly working with each other. We're all in this same boat of what we want Buffalo's direction to be going into.
Think about over the past couple of years, we've had Odoo come to Buffalo. You have the innovation hub that's going on here and all the companies that are growing out of that, ACV, and seeing the impact that it's having right there with the tech jobs. M&T Tech is our largest tech employer that's spearheading the innovation hub or innovation corridor and everything with that. So you kind of see it right there in a short time period of what's happened from that. And building out the tech workforce to support those organizations as they grow is huge. And as the workforce continues to grow, it makes it more attractive for more employers to come to Buffalo, creates more jobs, has that macro impact on our community. That's huge. It can go across the board. It's on a small scale, it could improve the average household income, sustaining wages. And on a macro impact, it can improve our infrastructure that we have here. Better internet across the city, better roads. I like to say that we're not going to have potholes anymore. But think about that direction that comes with that. By having a strong workforce here, it makes it attractive to other companies to say, hey, I'm going to go look to Buffalo and I'm going to get involved with that.
Yeah, and it's really exciting that companies like you are only at the beginning. You're growing so much and you're already making a big impact.
One other event or program I do want to kind of call out too is our community conversations event that we do. So Rachel Eastlack from our team, she spearheaded this. It's an event that's focused on bringing people into the room around an interest or a theme. So in the past, we've done tech and health. We've done a tech and gaming. And we have a panel discussion where we have professionals whose careers have been impacted by that specific topic or they've worked in that specific field. And immediately in the room, you see connections happen between the audience and the panelists, where they're asking questions. How did you get in a career? How did your story go? And they build from there. And as the event ends, you start to see everybody pairing off, sharing contact information, creating that connection that could be the next opportunity or open the next door for that person that came and showed up at the event.
I see that all the time. Buffalo it's a small world.
It sure is. And we talk about that too with our talent, the value of building your network. And there's always the intent of building a community and building a network might not be to get to that next opportunity, but it is probably how you will get to that next opportunity. And I think, one of the interesting approaches that we've taken is building in professional development around networking and how you specifically, like, what questions are you going to ask? How do you introduce yourself? Make sure that you always have a couple of cards on you. Do you want a physical card or a digital card? What are you going to say in your email to follow up with that person? Like, make sure your LinkedIn is up to snuff, things like that. Because it's those follow-ups that lead to the next thing. I mean, we're here today because of a connection, that Cam made, a mutual connection that you had. I'm here today. Like, I learned about this job at TechBuffalo, from someone I knew in high school, that now works, at the same place my husband works at. So it's in Buffalo specifically, we're like, what, 1 or 2 degrees of separation? What's the joke there? It's like everyone knows everyone, but it matters, right? And I think that gives our region that community feel that's unique and that, that we love. And as we, look to bring more folks into that community, retaining our college students, attracting new talent to the region, that is a huge thing for us to harness. And you need those foundational skills for how to build that network and how to build that community, for that to really have a larger impact along the course of your life and along the course of your career. And so we have, really intentionally into the programming that we have, especially with college students, built in those foundational networking skills, because you can't, it's really difficult, even as folks who have been in a professional role for a bit now, just say, okay, just like go into that room and network. Just go talk to people. You'll be fine. It's like, what the heck am I supposed to say?
Yeah. And everyone always says it's all about who you know and do as much networking, make connections, but it's almost as if it's harder to teach those skills, and we're not taught that in school. Like I honestly recently, even just before starting this job, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I was like, okay, well, wait. This person could help me. This person could help me. I could help this person. And that's when I really started understanding the power of networking and diving into learning from other people, meeting, and just grabbing coffee. Like it's insane how much you will learn just from grabbing coffee with somebody and learning about their life.
If you can start to build those skills at the same time that you're starting to consider what your career might look like. So even in high school and middle school, those soft skills that go along with having a really successful career in any industry, for our purposes, it's obviously tech and those tech-aligned, tech-empowered roles. But if you're building those skills if you're exposing them to the idea of building a network and building a community early, as they start to make those decisions about what they might study, about where they might work, about where they might live, that all is really it's going to enhance that stickiness, right, of keeping people in Western New York, keeping people in Buffalo, because they have the community, and not just like their friends at school, but like they've cultivated the beginning of a professional community, and they've cultivated an interest in working in Buffalo, and they have those mentors and those resources early on before they're making those decisions. You just said you've discovered the power of networking and are now maximizing on that opportunity. What if you had those skills 6 or 7 years ago? And how do we help to jumpstart that, in tech in Western New York to make sure that those people have the connections and the foundation that they already know that they're staying, or they already know that they're coming back before they even get to college or non-degree training.
Yeah, that's very true.
I will also add to it too with networking. I think the biggest step is actually just showing up. You first gotta walk in the door. You gotta be willing to walk up to people when you're in the room and just say, hey, I'm Cameron, what's up? What are you up to? How was your weekend? And it starts the conversation. But I always tell people, go in and be the most interested person in the room. Don't be the most interesting. Ask a lot about questions about what's going on, because it's going to pique interest from the other person to eventually say, well, what are you working on? What have you been up to? And it creates that natural connection there too, that you can then follow up on. Mary talked about that follow-up email. Touch base with them, and then email them saying, hey, would you like to get coffee next week? I mean, that 30 minutes, take that conversation. What can you get out of that one-on-one interaction where both of you only have each other's attention for 30 minutes? Like,
for sure.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So, and you never want to go into these situations too, like saying, I'm going to go in a network and it's going to get me a job today. You want to go and make a connection, see how you guys can help each other down the road or support each other. A lot of people in the area, they host events and they they need people to show up at the events and see what's going on. They put a lot of effort into these events, volunteering their time, and showing up to those events you can learn from the agenda that they have at the event, but you can also make new connections, help support that person and their initiative, what they're doing, and it can really go a long way.
Yeah, and you have no idea when one thing's going to lead to another.
You really don't. And it's that growth mindset too, right? Which is, valuable in any career, but especially in tech, that you're always willing to go out there and to continue learning, whether it's going to, one of the events that Cam's talking about, or going to, going to an opportunity that's going to help you build your network. But then when there's learning opportunities as well, and especially in tech, what you learn in tech today is relevant tomorrow. So making sure that, you are going into your career with that mindset that I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to, take advantage of the professional development opportunities that I have. I'm going to stay up to date on, what is new in tech, from a current event standpoint. And, just making sure that you are always learning and growing and moving forward. And that, that not only applies to, kind of that network and forward thinking, but also what you're actually doing in your tech career, or with any of the tech skills that you have, even if you don't consider yourself a technologist.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like, that's such a good point. Do you feel like because there was, and I say this as a 22-year-old, having grown up with technology, but with an explosion of technology just popping up out of nowhere, do you feel like sometimes it can be overlooked or in some ways seen as just this thing that we're living with as opposed to taking advantage of?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think about how they use technology on a daily basis, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my phone all the time, I'm staying connected with everyone everywhere, but I'm not really thinking about how is it working, what's going into that, what's the data behind it. And that's where we're on an opportunity now where people can start to learn that and start to be part of that, as whether it's a tech-enabled company building a product or just a tech company itself, and as they continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be, technology is going to continue to grow and progress and change, forever, right? And I think that the better we get at it, the faster it will continue to change. Obviously, we've all seen with AI and generative AI specifically how fast that can impact people's roles and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, I think we work with it, and I think we live with it. And I don't think that is going, to change, but I also don't think it's like something to be afraid of. I think that these are really exciting opportunities. Like, what can we continue to achieve? And I think specifically in Western New York and the industries that we have here, what can we continue to achieve in these industries? What value can we bring to the region, to the economy, to the people that live here? What opportunities with these advancements are only going to make us better? And so it's really exciting to think about it with that in mind. And sure, it can be overwhelming, like, I'm going to have to keep learning, I'm going to have to keep growing, but there's just unlimited opportunity there. And that's the really exciting part about it, is that the tech is transformational. And, we're really excited at TechBuffalo to be one of the drivers in the ecosystem pushing forward that innovation and that future.
Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, like, I feel like sometimes I am a little bit intimidated by it, especially with the AI generation right now. But you're so right that there is so much opportunity, and like you guys are doing such a great job in helping people see through your lens of the opportunity, the positivity, the growth within Buffalo, but also in a broader sense.
I actually love that you mentioned that, the intimidation factor, because that is something that we grapple with a lot with all the communities that we work with. Especially those who have not considered tech before as a career. When we talk about those who are unemployed or underemployed, I can't work in tech, that's beyond my skill level, that's beyond me. And how can we break that down into more bite-sized pieces and say, well, it can be for you. You don't need to be a full stack developer right now, today, tomorrow, but let's start with computer literacy. which is going to be the foundation for probably any job you're going to have. And, you know, from there, here's where you can grow. Here are the possible career pathways for you. But how do we make it more accessible and more attainable for those folks that do find it intimidating? And at any level, if you're just starting your tech career, if you're just even interested in the idea of working in tech and what that might mean for you, or if you are, you know, more advanced, if you have that, you know, if you are a little bit further along in your career and you think, well, you know, maybe I can do more, maybe I can have better impact, maybe I could just improve the work I'm doing through technology, and how do I discover what that looks like for me? So that's something that we think about a lot too from an accessibility standpoint.
I think it's important too, as we point those out, think about the places where people can go to learn about those things. So we have BCAT, they offer up training on IT fundamentals, like she mentioned. They have a certification, IT help desk, cybersecurity. Briscoe is offering IT help desk and eventually cybersecurity. There's Goodwill, Good Skills. So there's providers out there and programs going on that people can go and research and sign up for and take advantage of, because they can get you on that journey. Because you talk about what we're afraid of or the intimidation of it, but like if you're afraid of it, then the first step is let's learn about it and taking that step into those organizations.
Yeah, getting involved and then seeing that it's all part of this ecosystem toward a larger mission, especially in Buffalo. I mean, we're a tech hub. And I mean,
we are a tech hub. Talk about it. Say it out loud.
We're a tech hub.
What does that mean to you, actually?
It's exciting because think about everything our region's been through. We were built primarily off of the steel industry and really impacted by that. Going back 3 decades now, 4 decades.
Oh, it's 2024. It's a couple more decades than that.
Yeah, but going into this, like some people would say this is the next industrial revolution for our region, the country itself, the world. But we're part of this, and we have a lot of people here in our community, college, that want to get involved, want to be part of this, want to fill these jobs. And it's exciting to see what that can do for Buffalo. It can put Buffalo on the map. You think about Silicon Valley all day when you talk about a tech hub. And now you can talk about Buffalo right up there. We're obviously growing and on our way to that, but it's exciting to see that Buffalo is being recognized as that and a place of opportunity.
Yeah, it is really exciting because Buffalo is already very attractive, and we're only growing from there.
What keeps you here?
Like I said a little bit earlier, it's the opportunity. It's how much I can grow professionally, personally, in Buffalo, because I come from a really small town, and so it was so exciting that there was so much to do. There's a lot of variety, but also as a marketer, I knew I would have something waiting for me in Buffalo if I just did the work. And so that was really, really exciting for me.
Awesome. I mean, that's great to hear from, you know, because I work with college students, and that is what I want every student to enter, you know, Buffalo with, whether they are coming here for an internship or they are coming here for school, or they're coming here for that first job, that they can land in Buffalo and say, oh, there's opportunity here for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm thrilled to hear, you know, people from your generation are having that sentiment, and that, you know, they are seeing Buffalo as that place where they can really thrive.
Yeah. A lot of people I know that are my age, they don't really want to leave. That's kind of what it feels like.
There's something special going on here. You can feel it when you come into the city. And I think probably from your experience, you were at Canisius, you were right in the city. You got to be around it and see what was going on. And feeling that vibe of what's here, it really helps you take that step to say, like, yeah, I can see myself staying here. I can be part of this.
Yeah, and then taking that a step further, like us three in this room are really passionate about building a better Buffalo. Mm-hmm. It's all about the willingness to want to do that and make that change and stay here, make an impact. So it goes beyond just living here, right?
There's an immersion piece to it.
Yes.
You know, like it's you know, like, yeah, anybody can live here, but how are you going to live here? And like, you know, how are you going to, you know, what opportunities can, you know, we either provide or amplify for folks to get in the community personally and professionally? Like, what is your weekend going to look like? You can buy a house here, you know, with the cost of living, you know, like it's more an accessible place to buy a house and raise a family. So, you know, though, even like those things are what, you know, we think about when we try to amplify the opportunity that's in Buffalo. Like, it is career, but it's also life. And like, yeah, we got a snowstorm once in a while, but it's fine.
But we can make it fun.
Yeah, we make it fun, and it's a part of the culture.
Yes.
I went to Canisius too.
Oh, you
I
did?
did. I graduated in 2014.
Oh, wow. Go Griffs.
Yeah, go Griffs.
I just
Bonnies.
graduated.
Okay.
I just graduated in May, and then it was funny because like that's kind of was around the time of when I started to really connect with people, and I met someone through 43 North, and then she introduced me to Cam. Little did we know that we'd be sitting here today. I had no idea when I was learning about TechBuffalo back then that I'd be hosting a podcast.
Yeah.
So,
You never know where it'll take you.
so before we wrap up, I just kind of wanted to ask a little bit more specifically about how our listeners can get involved or what to look out for events wise.
Yeah, well, the biggest initiative that we have going on right now is that we are in our Power Up Tech employer partner recruitment season. So Power Up Tech is our initiative that works to attract tech talent to the region, retain that talent in the region, elevate our employers' internship offerings, you know, with an eye towards keeping that talent here. And so we offer a program that attaches to our employer partners' internships. So they come to us with the internship, and we provide a program that empowers our college students to grow their professional network that, you know, leads to opportunity, learn more about Buffalo as a place to live, work, and play, and we provide professional development for both soft and hard skills. And so we work with employers, you know, now to get them set up. We also help advertise those internships, get them out to our local colleges and our local partners. You know, so if there are any employers that are listening that are thinking about having an intern this summer, or if you know you're going to have an intern this summer and you want to provide a really stellar experience that is going to take your intern to the next level, and help keep them here after they graduate, keep that important talent here, you can reach out to me and we'll get you involved. Even if you don't have, you know, interns, but you are, you know, looking to connect with TechBuffalo and learn about different talent pipelines and, you know, how we can get you connected to some of our tech trainers, you can, you know, always reach out to anyone on our team, you know, Cam or myself. And, you know, we are always happy to make that connection.
That's great.
And we also have a couple of events coming up too. So first I'm going to say go visit our website, sign up for our events calendar so you can get notifications on all of them. But we do have 3 family code nights coming up between November and December. We're also be hosting a Women in Tech meetup with our partners at Invest Buffalo Niagara and 43 North. And there's going to be a community conversations event like we mentioned before. So go online, check those out, and show up. I mean, that's the biggest thing we could ask anyone is show up to these events, get engaged, use them as networking opportunities. And be part of what's going on.
Yeah, I know I'll be showing up to as many as I can.
I would say sign up for our newsletter as well. That is where, you know, we get out all of our opportunities, you know, for connection. We highlight jobs in there as well.
Storytelling.
So a lot of storytelling. You can, you know, hear about what's going on in the region if you are interested in learning more and getting engaged.
Awesome.
If I can talk a little bit about the success of Power Up Tech that we've had, summer of 2025 will be our 3rd summer to run this program. And so we have had over 40 employer partners. We've had 330 interns go through this program. And what we've seen is a retention rate of about 40%, which is really exciting because our retention rate for the region, when we think about the tech talent that we train here in our 20 colleges and universities we have, sits at 30%. So 7 out of 10 of those that talent leaves for roles outside of the region. And so for us to then bump that up 10% for the folks that we're, able to impact through the Power Up Tech program, that's really exciting. And we are, only looking forward to seeing that number grow. And, what an incredible thing it would be for, 10 years in the future that 100% of the tech talent that we train here stays here, puts those talents back into the region, back into our, our employers and back into our economy. And we have this incredible, tech community that we've grown.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you're doing for Buffalo, and I hope to see some more collaboration with TechBuffalo and Ciminelli Real Estate soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having us.
Go Bills.